Hi, friends. In today's live, we're gonna be talking about Angela is coming in. Let me give her a break to come in. So in today's live, we're gonna be talking about imposter syndrome. Very, very common. Imposter syndrome, commonly associated with feelings of self-doubt and inadequacy, despite evidence of success, takes on unique nuances for intuitive and spiritual practitioners. We, as spiritual practitioners, often face internal and external challenges that can fuel such feelings. Here's a breakdown of how imposter syndrome manifests and can be addressed in the intuitive field. So these are some common causes for imposter syndrome. And by the way, it happens to all of us, including me. Subjectivity of spiritual validation, okay? Intuition and spiritual abilities are inherently personal and hard to quantify. Without tangible proof, intuitives may doubt the legitimacy of their gifts, especially when comparing themselves to others with seemingly stronger or more recognized abilities. Guys, keep a journal. I keep many journals, but if anything, keep general journals of your hits. That's gonna make it tangible for you. Like I keep a journal for mediumship, one for Akashic records, one for dreams and automatic writing. But that's me. This is my life. This is all I do all day, every day. But if you don't do all of that, keep just one journal. If you have a dream, write it down. If you're thinking about your best friend and all of a sudden the phone rings and it's your best friend, write it down. Keep documentation of your hits, big and small, because when these feelings creep up and you look at every hit that you're not making it up, you wrote it down. So that's going to make it very tangible for you. That's going to be it's, if anything, one of the strongest things that you can do for yourself. Okay. Another thing is skepticism from society. In a world like we live in, heavily reliant on logic and science, we struggle with the fear of judgment and dismissal. External skepticism can amplify internal doubts, making us feel like frauds for pursuing a less conventional path. Comparison to established practitioners. Comparing oneself to others who seem more experienced or successful can create a sense of not measuring up, even if one's intuitive skills are genuine and impactful. Do not compare yourself to anybody but yourself. Everyone is different, and you don't know what someone's path is and has been. You're just looking at one moment in a person's life. Even if you're looking at a television show or you're at a show or a fair, whatever, you're just looking at a snapshot or a moment. You are not seeing that person's path, that person's growth, and that person's struggles. You're just looking at that person in that moment. So don't compare yourself to anybody. Just compare yourself to yourself. Um, and again, your journal with your hits is your best tool for helping you with that. Pressure to always be right. We often feel pressure to deliver perfect insight or readings. Missteps and inaccuracies can make us question our abilities and worthiness, even though intuitive work is not about perfection. Do I make mistakes? Of course I do. We all do. It's about growth, not perfection. Okay. About a year ago, I was doing whatever, and all of a sudden I had this message that a specific student of mine was pregnant. I was like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant. And I didn't know how to bring it up, but I wanted to know. So I texted her, can I ask you a question, a personal question? She was like, of course, Yari. And I said, are you pregnant? She's like, I'm not, but I've been having conversations with my husbands. We don't know, blah, blah, blah. She, we talked about it. And that was a year ago. She still hasn't gotten pregnant. So it's not that I saw the near future or anything like that. But I don't see that as a mistake because, in a very strange way, that opened another level of personal relationship that otherwise we wouldn't have had. Maybe we would have had it in a different way, but it opened a way for our relationship to get deeper and more personal that we didn't have until that time. So I don't see that as a mistake. Also, self-doubt as a growth mechanism. Spiritual work requires ongoing self-reflection and shadow work. This continual uncovering of personal challenges may sometimes be misinterpreted as evidence of inadequacy, and that is not at all. I encourage everybody to do shadow work all the time and heal. And healing is a process that is never ending until your last day on this earth. So do not think that because you're uncovering things and challenges, you are not a good channel. Signs of imposter syndrome in intuitives. Hesitation to charge appropriately for services or work for free despite expertise. This blows my mind every time. People expect us to do work for free. Why? Everybody else in this universe, every other person uses their gifts, their abilities, their creativity, uh, and charge. Why not us? Oh, because they come from God. And your creativity doesn't come from God? It does. This is my line of work. This is the only thing I do. I teach. I'm a teacher. I charge. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, you can move on. That is something that just blows my mind. And I just cannot understand why people, I spend thousands upon thousands of dollars learning. Why not charge if I'm teaching people? I don't understand that. Constantly seeking external validation for insights or ratings. Listen, it's way easier to read for somebody that's open to messages, right? At this point in my career, and I've been there, if I have somebody in front of me that's like that and trying to catch me, I'll give them their money back and say, this is not going to work. Because, first of all, it's not very pleasant. But second, if somebody is like that, they're closed, right? So they're holding their energy. Their energy, the flow of information is just not going to be there. If you're trying to catch me, then why pay me? Move on. So, you know, I just don't read for people like that anymore. Now, of course, it's so much easier if somebody is open and they are nodding and they are interacting with the reading. And depending on the reading, for example, if I'm doing a mediumship reading, I do evidential mediumship. So I tell people from the very beginning, if I ask, don't tell me anything because that invalidates the reading, invalidates the evidence that I'm trying to provide. So don't tell me anything. If you give me the life story, then what are we discovering? Nothing, right? So don't tell me anything. But if I ask you a question, answer yes, no, or I don't know. That's it. After we're done with the reading, you can tell me the entire story. You can spill the tea because I want to know too. I want that validation too. I'm a person. But in the middle of the reading, I ask people not to do that. But in other kinds of readings, in a tarot reading, in other kinds of reading, if people want to engage, that is so much nicer. And the flow of information flows so much easier. It's not about giving me the information, it's about participating from the reading. Okay. Feeling that your gifts are just luck or a coincidence. Not at all. We are all born with this. This is part of our birthright. We just forgot how to do it. We were taught that it was not right. We were taught that it was our imagination. We were taught that it was from the devil. We were taught so many other things. We were taught that this is scary, all kinds of things, but this is our birthright. We were born like this, okay? So this is not luck and it's not coincidence. There's not such a thing as coincidence. Fear of being exposed, of inauthentic or not good enough, avoiding opportunities for visibility. People do that, and all of those things are based on fear. And what I teach my students is that fear is one of the lowest vibrating energies. You should not live off of fear, um, because it causes an array of problems, especially if you're having self-doubt that just feeds off of your fear. So move away from that. Um, Now, how can we overcome imposter syndrome? Well, one of the first thing is to acknowledge that growth is not going to be linear, okay? So if you were going to put your growth in a chart, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be more like a wave because that's just the way it is. Intuitive skills develop over time and through practice. So your growth is going to look very different to my growth because it depends on our personalities, it depends on our own different abilities, and it depends on how much effort we're putting into it. That's it. Um, Also, we need to normalize that there's going to be periods of our lives that we're just going to be off, and that's for everybody. Even if you are very good at your job, there's going to be times that you're going to be better than other days, just like us. There's been times that I just felt totally off for maybe a reading, for maybe a day, for maybe a week, for maybe a period of time. And especially if you're sick, especially if you're going through trauma, especially if you're going through a difficult time in your life, those times sometimes intuition just kind of decreases. So, it's just the way it goes. Embracing your unique gifts. Every intuitive has a unique set of abilities. So instead of comparing yourself to other people, focus on the individual value and perspective that you bring to clients and to your practice. When you're taking classes with me, for example, a tarot class, I'm going to coach you through a reading, but I will never invalidate your reading. Maybe the same set of cards, I will read them in a different way. That doesn't make your reading wrong, okay? Because you are just you, just like in the kitchen. If we stand side by side in the same kitchen with the same ingredients, cooking the same thing, they're both gonna taste different. Are they wrong? No, we're just different people and we're putting part of our energy and part of ourselves in it. That's it. So focus on what you as an individual can bring to your practice and to your clients. All right. Now, seek community and mentorship. Engage with like-minded individuals or groups who validate and affirm your gifts. Share experiences, reduce feelings of isolations, and reinforce confidence. It's so much nicer to be dealing with people that understand you because they're in the same path that you are, and have those feelings of inadequacy too from time to time. Celebrate small wins. Like I said, document all your hits. That's the best way to tangibly, in a piece of paper that you can hold in your hand, see, oh no, remember this day, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Because we forget. And then when we feel like, oh, that guy on TV looks amazing. I'm never gonna be like that. No, you have all this evidence in front of you, like, oh, no, I'm better than I thought I was. Yeah, document and celebrate. Even if your hit is just a little one, put it down and celebrate it. Um, Reframe mistakes. No intuitive is gonna be 100% accurate. Like I was telling you about um, the story with my student. I don't think that she was clearly not pregnant. She's still not pregnant, but I don't think that as a mistake. I think that as a way the universe took us to have a different kind of communication and relationship. And reaffirm your spiritual purpose. If you work with me, one of the first things that I'm going to teach, what I'm going to ask you in whatever class, mediumship, tarot, whatever it is your why. What is your why? Because this is really important. Why do you want to be a medium? Why do you want to read tarot? Why spirituality is important to you? Because it's going to be a time that you're going to feel overwhelmed. There's going to be a time that you're going to feel off. There's going to be a time, whatever it is, you name it, A, B, C, D, E, whatever it is, your why is going to be your anchor. And when you remember that, then you remember that you have a higher purpose, and that's your why. You have a higher purpose that connects you to a divine flow, and that's important. So what can we do? What do I do? I love affirmations, and that worked for me. And we can say things like, I trust the unique way my gifts unfold and align in alignment with divine timing. You can say something like, my intuition is real, valid, and valuable. I am enough as I am, and I grow stronger with every experience. My imperfections are part of my humanity and do not define me, do not define my worth as a channel. Addressing imposter syndrome is especially vital for intuitives because self-doubt can blow intuitive flow. As soon as you start self-doubting, what's happening is that you are involving your brain. And that deters you from the flow, that deters you from the channeling process. So self-doubt actually blocks the intuitive flow. So by recognizing and working through these feelings, intuitives and seers can step into their power and serve others more authentically. Do you have any questions?
When you say don't use your brain, would you more like say feel with your hands and heart?
When I say don't use your brain, part of your brain is definitely engaged. You're awake, you're talking, you're seeing, you're smelling, but when you're channeling and channeling in whatever way, with a tarot, with mediumship, whatever is what you're doing, there is almost a bypass of your brain. So when you start doubting, when you start saying, Well, that doesn't sound right. Well, that sounds kind of dumb. Well, that kind of sounds stupid. You're putting your brain in the middle of the reading. Okay.
Okay,
So that's what I mean by putting your brain. It actually blocks the flow.
I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have any other question?
Um, well, you talked about that pregnancy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did this same thing, kind of same thing with you, like you were describing. And today, or just last week, actually, I found out that her son is pregnant or expecting, he's not pregnant, obviously, but he's expecting a baby. And she's like, remember 3 years ago when you said I was going to be a grandma? And I said, yes. She goes, I just have to tell you, my son is going to have his baby.
Mm.
So, like, I felt bad because I kind of wanted to celebrate because we knew it. Like, when I told her I seen the baby, I told her I couldn't tell her when the baby was going to be there. And she was kind of like you know, oh, whatever kind of thing, you know. But she actually kind of considered it, and it was funny when she talked to me last week. It was like, I can't believe you were right. And I was like, wait, I was right? How do you work through that not wanting to squeal to them, but celebrate it inside or kind of thing? Like, how do you express, like, when you try to give them feedback when they ask to confirm that? How would you react to it? I
I
guess.
I think I think it depends. It's gonna be hard to give a general answer like that because that depends on how you react as a person and your
Right.
relationship with the other person. So you have to really use your discernment
Okay.
at how boisterous your reaction can be or not. Because there's some people that are going to be very uncomfortable. And also depending on what it is that you predicted. Uh,
Right.
because, if you predicted somebody's death or a car accident, you're not going to be like, whoa, a hit, right? So,
Right.
it's going to depend on every single situation.
Right.
You
So,
need,
I mean, like, do you yourself express the celebration with them when they do? Because I mean, I did with her because she's a close friend of mine, but I just didn't know if you normally like go into it like, oh, I don't know how to explain it.
it
Um,
depends on who it is. Like you said, she's a good friend of yours, so you celebrate. But if it's a client that I don't know and I will never see again,
but she comes back at you and confirms it for you, what would you do?
smile.
Okay, that helps.
All right.
Thank you, Yari.
You are very welcome. All right, so I hope that was helpful. And let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, if you want me to expand on any part of this topic. Also, if there's something specific that you want me to cover in another live, remember that I will upload this video as soon as it's available to me to the group. But you'll be able to find this also in my YouTube and TikTok accounts. All right, so
All right, thank
you're welcome. I'm so happy to see you here. And I hope to see you next Wednesday at 6 o'clock Eastern. Bye.